negotiating a whole lot throughout the day. But one thing I had to do was I had to change my diet. So that meant I couldn't eat the big lunches that I was used to eating because I started getting like a little bit groggy. You know, lunchtime, and I get this call like, oh yeah, we'll buy that. And like, what did I just say? No, I call back, it's busy. Like, no. You know, and I didn't just buy it. So what I had to learn was that I had to watch what my foods were that I ate throughout the day because I had to keep my attention at a certain peak. Because this became my lifestyle. I said, okay, what else do I have to do? Okay, I have to take a certain vitamin, I need to go to bed at a certain time. Different things that I had to do. I'll tell you one thing I went so far, you don't have to go to this extreme, that I was doing to save myself on time. When I was wholesaling and I was spending a lot of time out, I realized that a certain number of hours equals a certain amount of deals. So I started looking at my days, so I figured, how can I increase my hours? Because the only thing I had was I couldn't put no more than 25 hours in a day anyway. So I broke it down to about 12 hours of putting in a day. And I realized about an hour and a half of time was going into lunch. So before lunch, I'm like, man, why don't I have to eat for lunch? I'm not thinking about deals. Then I get to the drive-through line, I'm waiting in the drive-through line, and I sit down, and I'm like, all right, great. And I'm sitting there eating. After eating, I feel a lot drowsy. So I said, why I just cut the whole piece out? This is just me. I just kept a gallon of water and some trail mix in the passenger seat. And that was it. So I just snacked throughout the day, and I was able to keep my time of me being out there, so I increased my overall success rate. So some people I was working with said, hey, you want to stop for lunch? I said, you can go right on ahead. I'm going to get the deal while you're sitting there, eating and so forth. I'm sitting there getting that deal. That's what I had to do. It's all unique to each individual. Yes?
I'm going to ask you, how many hours equals how many deals?
How many hours equals how many deals? Well, what that does, glad you asked that question. It's different depending upon the market. The market changes, and the market cycle changes as far as, and we know about market cycles, like every 7 to 10 years, market cycle. And then there's also the cycle of what you're doing for us with investing, whether you're wholesaling or renovating. What I did was I wrote everything down, tracked it, and then I was able to make adjustments from there. So what I would do, you say you did 4 deals last year, what I would do was look into what you did for those 4 deals and find out where the points at that made you the most money, and then focus more on that particular point right there. So let's just say, I don't know, just breaking it out. Let's just say it took you 3 months per deal, right, to go through. So you say, well, on average, every 3 months of the deal, what did you do in those 3 months to in turn get that deal? How can you in turn cut that down shorter and be more? What could you outsource and hire for somebody else to do for a reasonable rate or for a profit share so you can do more effectively? So instead of doing 4 deals, you did 8, but on the other 4, you gave half of it away. That's equivalent to 2 more deals that you wouldn't have got on your own. So that's kind of how I reverse engineered it. So.
And then it was a learning curve too, so that took up a whole lot of my
Yeah, which is good though, because it helps you.
I don't have to do it this year.
There you go. Yes, sir.
Those were great suggestions you mentioned, but I might suggest not focusing so much on the number of deals, but on their profitability, for instance. And so in my career, certain years I made very few deals, but may have made more money in the deal than in the years where I did more. So I would focus on just when Ken wrote down focus on those activities that are going to generate your deals. And so if you're doing that, as long as you're doing the next right thing, the right thing will happen. And so you don't have to worry. Some of the things you can quantify, but most of it, in my experience, you can't really quantify. You just have to keep plugging away and keep plugging and boom, it's going to happen. The analogy is, when I use this when you're fishing, it's very, very rare that you're sitting in a boat on a lake with the water completely like glass, and it's very rare the fish is going to jump out, big fish is going to jump out, jump right in your boat. But when you're losing your bait, like 8 or 10 times, man, there's a lot of activity, out there. That's when something's going to happen. So you just got to keep putting that bait in. Somebody takes your bait, put that worm on the next hook and put it right back out there, and it'll happen.
I like the thing that you mentioned as well that I learned later on in investing was that in investing I learned that we don't get paid per hour, we get paid per thought. And so once I understood that concept, it made that concept my whole in my mind. I started figuring out what could I do to become more profitable for what I did? So if there was something I could do, let's say something took me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps before payday. But if I found something else that allowed me to take 1, 2 payday, well, then this right here is more profitable for me if all things are created equal. And what I've done is save more time. So as you mentioned, what I like to do is focus on the things that are going to be profitable and not put myself in energy in areas that aren't. Because at the end of the day, your time, that's how you choose your value. You choose your value because no one, at the end of the day, you could be worth $5 an hour or $1,000 an hour. At the end of the day, you can help one person a year out of a situation and feel good. You can help an entire family or an entire zip code. That's still one of my goals, to be able to help an entire zip code. But you can do more to help in a much larger scale. And to be able to help on a much larger scale, it requires the same philosophies. Anybody else?
I am curious to know, are you serious about wanting to help a whole zip code?
Yes.
I'm curious, could you elaborate on that? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. I work with, go speak at public schools. And one thing I find at public schools are kids who have challenges as far as with bringing supplies. And teachers said to me that they don't have supplies when they come there. And there are a lot of students here that come to these schools that come from single-parent households that there's not enough resources for them to have the things to perform at these schools. So I've gone to these schools and talked to these schools, and I mean, they've been through the whole spectrum. I mean, I've been from like schools in Gaithersburg to some schools in some rough parts of the inner city where middle schoolers scared me, you know, and I was like, wow. And it was true. I remember I had to go speak at this one middle school, and the teachers told me, hey, when you come in here, the last cop, the person was a cop, and they booed him so much that he never got a chance to finish his speech. So we let you know this could be a tough group. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. All right. And I'm nervous. I'm like, oh man, these kids can be so cruel. They was coming in, balling up paper, like, they getting them ready for you, boy. They get their paper up there. And I'm not gonna lie, I was the most nervous from those middle schoolers. I was like, they're gonna be heartless. They're gonna rip me up to shreds. They're gonna smell that I'm nervous. It's completely destroyed me, you know. But actually, it was just a complete opposite. I told them a story about. It's got to get you just a little short. Make it, anybody want to know what the story was about?
Yes.
What I told him was, okay, if somebody said no, I still would have went. No, I'm just messing with you. Basically, it was a really rough neighborhood. And what I told them was about the story of David and Goliath. And I asked, anybody know about the story of David and Goliath? And one kid raised his hand, and everybody booed him for raising his hand. I'm like, no, boy, let him say it. So he told the story of David and Goliath. And so then I got to express, I said, now, would you know about, if Goliath beat David, would we know the story? They were like, no, we wouldn't know the story. I said, you only know about the story because David won, right? They said, right. So then I began to express that all of y'all are David. And when you leave this school, you meet Goliaths all up and down the street corner, trying to get you to do things that you know you shouldn't do. Then that was able to get them to identify with somebody who they respected. And when I did that, they in turn respected me. And before it was over, it was quiet. You hear a pin drop. And a select few were picked out and we were able to go and have lunch in the back room, and we were able to take pictures and talk. Now, the funny thing is, we were in the back room having lunch, we was talking, taking pictures. I'm still nervous. I'm thinking, any minute now, they're going to say, hold up. What are we doing being nice to this guy? Get him. Something ain't right. We're being too nice. Let's get him. But it was great. We took pictures, we had fun, and I didn't get any agreements from their parents, so none of those pictures were able to be posted on Facebook. But it's in my heart, and it's in their heart as well. That's really all that mattered. They felt good. So my goal is to be able to go to an entire zip code and to be able to go to everyone in that zip code, all middle schoolers, elementary schoolers, to be able to say that do a seed, and I'm going to, like what I do with my daughters, give them an incentive to do well and say, I'm going to be here, I'm going to help you. You do this, I'm going to do this, we're going to work together as a team. That's my goal. And to not create an environment that punish C students. Because sometimes those C students are, they say, one phrase I heard was that C students hire A students. It only just means that they have people who work so hard in life and strive so hard, but they may not have what they call that kind of book smart. And so they get to feel that they're not that bright. And then they get kind of kicked to the side. And then they grow up. And then they wear black shirts and jeans. Oh, that sounds familiar. And they tell me what the audience is. They say, leave that kid alone. So that's one of my goals right there. That's what to get back in that way to help out the ones in school. Thanks for asking. Anyone else? Anything to chime in at all? Okay, well, this is what I want to ask next then. Okay, then let's talk about your business. Okay? What businesses challenges are you expecting to face this year? Let's figure out as a group how you work through it. What are your experiences, you say?
I got a question, maybe anyone that has some experience in commercial lending. Maybe nobody does, but I'm trying to gather what I want to do with my taxes this year. I'm reflecting on would it make sense to pass through all the rental income away from all the individual LLCs into a central LLC for it to qualify for commercial lending down the road. So that's one thing I'm hoping to gain tonight. If anyone has any input or maybe knows somebody, you know, maybe not a CPA, but a commercial lender, something along those lines, got a loan to an LLC, you know, give my name and number, and I'd be happy to talk to someone because I'm looking at the goal I have before it.
Anybody have any experience in that arena?
I'm not sure I understand, you're trying to consolidate a whole bunch of LLCs into one.
Do I report my income through the individual LLCs as
Oh, I
I've
see.
done in the past, or do I pass all the income into a single LLC
I see.
Well,
to generate?
I don't know about a lot about it, but what I understand, an LLC, the type of entity that is, it really doesn't matter. Okay, it's personal income,
Yeah.
okay? And so it wouldn't have there's no benefit to doing that.
Yes.
My question to all the wholesalers and everyone in here, how are you developing your cash buyer list? The ways that I'm doing is, Craigslist, Backpage, and the tools that I'm using, you can create multiple squeeze pages. So I have that capability, and also going to GoSection8.com, going to the ports, pink slip, that's what you're using.
Right.
That was actually very helpful.
So we like that when we went through every step of it.
But how are you guys finding your cash buyers? Would you